Since I'm the last person to present my speech, I'd like to take the time to say thank you to the teachers and for giving all of us an opportunity. And I'd like to say thank you to the audience for being open and listening to our stuff. Hi, my name is Tanish Pai. An invention I believe will make lives easier is a wildfire control kit. You might be thinking, how did I come up with this invention? Well, let me explain. In the year 2019 alone, there were 3 main wildfires. A wildfire in California caused the U.S. economy $9 billion in damage, in addition to human and nature damage. The largest rainforest in the world has been burning for months, which has caused over 906,000 hectaacres of damage. Not to forget the wildfire that made the internet go big on memes. The Australia wildfire has also been burning for months, but caused over $110 billion in damage. That's a lot of damage. I'm sure you agree with me that all of these 3 wildfires have one thing in common. They all started as a small fire that nobody noticed or probably stepped over, and then it kept growing bigger and bigger and bigger until it's uncontrollable. Now, that's why I thought of this invention. Let me break down my invention into 3 simple steps that I'll elaborate more on later. Step 1. Identify the fire at an early stage, so what I just explained can't happen. Step 2. Define a parameter around the fire and protect it from growing. Then focus on the extinguishing process. It's probably the hardest, but it's the most important. Now, let me go into a little bit more detail. First, we have to fly drones around and record the areas for heat. When we see the wildfire or the small fire, we have to make sure it's not someone cooking or it's someone's campfire. That's not good. Second of all, we have to set up cameras so we can monitor the fire and we don't have to fly the drones around everywhere. Step 3, we have to find a place where we can monitor the fire. It has to be a little bit close because if we see it spreading, we have to go in there as soon as possible. And we also have to go to our water gauge, which is pretty much like a rainwater collector that we can use to extinguish the fire. So when the fire starts to get a little bit bigger, we have to take our bottle rockets, which we're gonna use to extinguish the fire, and then go straight in and make sure that it is not spreading. Then the parameter part starts. We have to surround the fire with water and make sure it doesn't spread. Hey, fire beats water. Then we have to throw the water rockets, and we have to have someone who can surround the water with bottle rockets and extinguish the fire. That is very important because many people's lives are needed to be used. Firefighters need to do their job too. So if we have firefighters on duty, we will have to let them come in and spray the water onto the fire just to make sure that nothing can start over again. If we don't have firefighters on duty, we have to also make sure that we can come in and circle it until a point where we can easily just dump water on it and it'll be fine. So many people's lives are affected with wildfires, like people who live near forests, people who live in the Amazon rainforest, like people who live in high-risk areas, firefighters, and animals in nature. Those lives are really important and nothing can replace a life. So, before I end my speech, I'd like to ask if anyone wants to sponsor my items. So, would anyone want to sponsor? No? I'll just get a Shark Tank. It's a good idea. Thank you for my speech.